What is going on, guys? We are back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Alen Palender's New York preset that he just provided for all of us for free. Earlier this week, Alen Palender made a video talking about how he edits portraits in Lightroom. Within the video, he provided a free preset that he uses for his pictures, and it was completely free, I thought it was pretty cool. Within the video, he showed you how he adjusts the colors, how he adjusts the temperature and everything in order to get his colors and his tones in his photos. So what I wanted to do was pretty much download it and see, kind of give like a real world test to see if I could really apply this preset to all of my photos and adjust it to get the same tones as he does. And of course, if you're new to the channel, my name is Yanni Gallegos. I do tutorials on presets, LUTs, I review them. I review camera gear, I show you tips and tricks when it comes to photography and video. So if you're all about that, please subscribe down below. But without further ado, let's get started. So to start things off, we're going to be using this Audi. Of course, all you have to do is download the preset, import it into your Lightroom. I'll leave the video down in the description down below. That way it's easier access for y'all. And of course, it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything. So you attach the preset, right away you get this yellowish tone, and what he mentioned in the video is that you could really bring down the temperature to kind of get like a cooler feeling. You keep going until, honestly, you could keep going to your liking. I kind of like that right there. It still looks a little too bright. His photos are really dark. Bring down the exposure probably right there. As you can see, with bringing down the exposure, you kind of lose the color of the car. The color was white and now it looks like it has like a green tone to it. I kind of don't mess with that. But what you could do is go to your brush over here and kind of just brush over the whole car. You could brush from like one end all the way around. Kind of get as much of the car you can. Even get the rim if you want. Kind of go brush everything that you possibly could see. Make sure you get the whole car. So with this, you now have the car pretty much all colored in. You could bump up the exposure just a little bit, and as you can see, you kind of brighten up the color. Another thing that really helps to get kind of like a really true white, you could kind of go down to the saturation and bring it down just a little bit, just to get like a true white, if that makes any sense. That way you kind of lose a little bit of the blue and the greenish tones. Right then and there, that looks pretty sick. It kind of matches up with his photos a little bit. I feel like it's still a little too bright. You could bump it down just a little bit. So with bumping down the exposure of the picture again, you kind of lose some of the exposure in the car. So all you have to do is go back to your brush tool, go over that same layer that you kind of just made, and all you can do is just pretty much bump it up just slightly again. Don't overdo it, because then it looks fake. It looks fake as fuck. Don't overdo it. And if you want, bump it up a little bit, you can still bring down the saturation a little bit to get a little true white. But like right then and there, it kind of looks like his photos. It kind of matches up with his style, which is nice. One thing that I find really hard when it comes to using such dark tones is to see whether you could still keep skin tones in your pictures. So let's go over to this portrait real quick. It's a portrait of a fellow that I took a picture of the other day when I was doing the POV. I said fellow, I never use fellow. It was a picture of this guy, I guess. Anyways, let's attach it right then and there. You see that it's dark as hell. You gotta bring up that exposure a ton. I don't want to say a ton, but right off the back, you see that it kind of brought back his skin tones, which is really good. I was scared that it wasn't gonna bring back his skin tones, but it did, so that's good. You could still bring them back even more. So when it comes to this, I'm still gonna adjust the temperature just a little bit. I'm gonna drop it to kind of get a little cooler right there. But to get like his skin tones back, you could come down to the orange. And a little trick that I do, people kind of just saturate it and they're like, cool, that looks fine. But I always feel like it looks like too like Oompa Loompa-ly. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. You look like an Oompa Loompa pretty much if you bump up the orange too much. So you could just bump it up just a little bit, and then the trick for me is that I bump up the luminance, and it kind of brings back his skin tones. It kind of brightens them up a little bit, and you don't have to worry about anything else. With these green trees in the back, I don't like them because they look too green, and for his photos, they're kind of desaturated. Everything looks black and white, bluish, kind of a little bit of green, but not too much. I feel like this is too much green in the photo. So the weird thing about green is that green, look, as you can see, green is already desaturated all the way down, and there's still green trees in the back. For some reason, there's a lot of yellow and green. So if I mess with this green tab over here and I bump up the saturation, as you can see, it affects it a lot. So all you have to do is turn that down just slightly and you kind of get rid of it. You kind of lose a little bit of his hair, but it's fine. But overall, I mean, it looks pretty nice. You kept the skin tones. It still has that dark feeling. You kind of look like you're part of Underworld or some shit, but it looks nice. We could try it again with this last man right here. We apply it, kind of go up to the temperature again, kind of cool it down a little bit, probably like right there. No, let's do right there. Maybe bring down the exposure just a little bit, but again, right, you lose his skin tones. You lose literally the red. You could see it sort of, but you kind of lose it a lot. So we're gonna go all the way down here, back to the oranges, bump up the oranges just slightly, and then you bring in that luminance right there. As you can see, it's still like the luminance, all it does is it's gonna brighten it up, the color. But I feel like it still looks a little too white. So in that section, you could kind of, let's not do that. You could kind of come back to the orange and you could bump it up just a little bit. Kind of looks like he has a good tan. Maybe bring down the luminance. You could darken it just a little bit. This red, I feel like it's not red enough. So of course you'd come up to the red tab, saturate it a little bit. Or let's leave the saturated down and we'll bump up the luminance a little bit. But I mean, you still kind of get the tone like some before and after, right? You kind of, it's a huge difference. You really get those dark tones. They're really punchy. They're really dark, bluish, kind of greenish tones. One thing that really helps me is that like I really like this photo and I try to match all the photos to match this one. What's cool about Lightroom is that you could come down to this RA tab right here. You click on it and you pretty much get like a reference and an active tab. So on the reference is pretty much the photo that you're trying to replicate, and then of course on the active is the active photo that you have clicked on. So this is a little trick that I always use to make sure that my photos kind of match up with each other. So let's say we have this one in the reference and we click on this one and this one's the active, and they kind of look very similar, believe it or not. Maybe this one's a little brighter just because of the white, right? You can bump it up just a little bit, kind of match it up a little. Same goes for this. Let's say you want to reference this one. I mean, that looks practically identical. Of course, their skin tones are different because their skin tones were different in real life. We could try to do another one. Let's see if we could do another portrait just to kind of see what we're really working with here. We apply the preset. Let's bring up, let's cool it down first. Let's see if we could try to bring his skin tones first on this one. So you bump up the orange just a little bit. Right off the back, you get his skin tones right back. So we're gonna up the luminance. Let's go right there. That looks pretty good. Maybe we'll up the saturation just a little bit. I don't want to make him too tan. Not everyone is tan in real life, but right then and there, I mean, it looks pretty good. Maybe we could cool it down just a little bit right there. So we cooled it down even more, but then you lose some of his skin tones. So this is the little like kind of the trial and error I can't even talk today, bro. This is the trial and error when using dark tones, because you lose skin tones and you always have to go back and adjust it. So let's see if we could up the saturation of this just a little bit. I don't want to make them too orangey. What if we up the luminance? There we go. We kind of bring it back a little bit and it doesn't look that bad. You can keep those. I don't like this over here, but I mean, it works for the most part. His hairline kind of, as you can see, it looks like he has like some dark spots. I'm not sure how that is, but I mean, with that, you could go up to the brush tool, maybe brush it over a little bit. Let's not have that exposure, huh? And then you could literally just warm it up and then kind of try to get it to match his skin tone, and like not even there. And for even portraits like this, you kind of lose like the eyes a little bit. So what you could do is come closer to the eyes, go back to your brush tool, up it up a little bit, kind of go right there, and you kind of bring back the exposure on his eyes. Maybe you could even sharpen him a little bit, bring out some clarity. Now he looks like he's staring directly at you. Like that looks a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. No offense to this guy. If you're seeing this video, I'm sorry, my dude. Yeah, let's bring that down just a little bit, like right there. That looks fine because now he's practically staring into my soul. But I mean, overall, like, we'll bring this photo back. You kind of get like the gist of it. You kind of get those tones. And what's cool about presets is like once you kind of find the sweet spot, you really start taking your photos to cater to your preset. These photos, of course, were not taken to cater to this preset, and that was the whole point of this video. I wanted to test it out. As you can see, for the most part, it really does its job. You really get those tones that kind of match up with his dark tones, which is really cool. And the fact that he provided this for free is even better. However, I feel like this preset still isn't his main one that he uses for all of his photos. Maybe he uses it for a couple, but I feel like it's not the same one he uses for all of his photos, which is completely fine. You wouldn't want to give your original preset that you use for everything for free, but I'm pretty sure you could get it if you buy his preset packs. I mean, they're a little expensive, but if these are the tones that you're trying to go for and you really like the style, I mean, I would invest in it. I've invested in presets before. But overall, I hope y'all gained something from this. I hope that y'all learned that it's a cool preset, and the fact that it's free, I mean, it's free. Why not get it and try it out? It's not a bad deal. Kind of try it out for yourself. But like always, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope I did this preset justice. I feel like I didn't. I mean, but it kind of gives you a gist. I'm giving you the real world example from someone who really doesn't use dark tones. So if I could somewhat do it, I'm pretty sure you can do it. So it should be easy for y'all. And I hope this video kind of helped out. If it didn't help out, then go ahead and watch his video. I'm pretty sure he does a way better job of explaining it. But thanks again, everyone, for watching. Like I said before, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, leave a like, comment, do whatever you want. If you hated this video, leave a comment, please. It's fine with me. But yeah, man, tune back next week for another video. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.